Good evening, everyone. This is Tala with Drive-Thru Therapy. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight on another episode. And as always, so grateful for your support. And I wanted to offer you another way of listening to this podcast, which actually came from a suggestion from my mother. And she loves watching YouTube. So it'll be on YouTube now, this podcast. It will also include all of the past episodes, as well as any new episode that gets published will directly go to YouTube, which is fantastic. They've made it so easy. Also, in the future, something to look forward to is I would like to make some videos and we'll be posting them on YouTube. So you'll have access to them if you subscribe, which is, again, a wonderful way to support this podcast. I do this to be of service. Think of me as your therapist in your pocket. That's what I want to be, the person that's going to talk to you and tell you just like it is when it comes to any topic that we discuss. Some may like this approach and some may find it a little more directive. Either way, I always approach this as a way that I would not mind hearing this information, but still has the intention, would love to tell me what I need to hear. Maybe not what I want to hear, but what I need to hear. And this is what this is about. And I'm glad that you trust me and you've trusted me for years to do this with you. And I'm glad that I am in your ear and that you hear me throughout the day as I hear some people tell me. So this one is for you. And I want to make sure that you guys know that I love you guys so much. This podcast has been available since 2019 and it's been going because of you guys. So thank you for listening all around the world. This is something that I want my son to hear one day. If he ever needs to hear my voice and I'm not around, he has this too. So this might be news to everybody, but I actually record this in hopes that one day my son will still have a part of me that lives on and that he can hear my voice anytime he wants. Just press play, son. And I love you. I love all of you. All right. Tonight is going to be one of those harsh truths that we all don't want to hear, but need to hear. And it is about relationships and what type of habits or dysfunctions that we normalize in a relationship. Things that we all might societally accept as like, oh, that's part of a relationship. Just a relationship is hard. We just have to put up with certain things because that's what a relationship, you got to work at it. But from this perspective, unfortunately, we have stepped into toxic territory because we've now normalized some things that really should not be normal. And whatever normalized them didn't come from a place that's healed. It came from a place that is wounded within us. So today I'm going to talk about the few things that are impacted when it comes to habits in a relationship that are considered normal, but they are in fact a dysfunction. Some of these things might actually shock you, and some of these might make sense already. You might know them, but I'm here to affirm. All right. Before I get into what these things are, these dysfunctions are that we have normalized, I want to make sure that everybody knows that these dysfunctions are actually supported by core beliefs that I'm about to talk about right now. That means we all may have these beliefs if we have these particular habits, and I want you to keep those beliefs in mind. One of the main beliefs that we have about relationships that continue to support dysfunctions is a belief that relationships or love has to be earned. Love has to be earned. That, in fact, is probably one of the most destructive parts of a relationship. When I ask people, what is the benefit for you in loving someone? Most of the time, their response is that I get love back. This might sound like it's nice and romantic. However, it is destructive because in a lot of ways, this belief supports that love is transactional and it must be earned. And if we grew up being exposed, having to earn love from early attachments, more than likely we have this belief in our mind and we are going to support these other dysfunctions that show up in our relationships. We won't bat a lash. We will think they are true. That's what relationships are. So thinking that we need to earn love, I have to work hard to get it. It's, on an extreme sense, that's pretty destructive. So if you believe that love needs to be earned, you will also tolerate, you will not recognize when it is in fact extreme because it is normalized in our psyche. We tolerate it. It's just acceptable. So our gauge is going to be a bit off when we believe that love is transactional and that I have to earn love. And so love is hard. Basically, those are all similar. Love is hard. So I won't notice when I'm struggling in a relationship, when I'm lonely, when I'm not happy or dissatisfied or just feel disappointed or betrayed. I may not notice that these things are there because I think that love is hard and it has to be earned and you just got to work at it. So that is probably a core belief that supports all the dysfunctions I want to talk about today. Another big one that I think is pretty obvious, but sometimes it is missed because it's so hidden and we're not willing to admit it consciously, is the fear of abandonment. The fear of abandonment, this particular fear affects every decision we might make in attachment. Depending on the level of fear that we have, basically will determine how much we'll tolerate, will determine whether we're going to see the other person accurately, or whether we are going to be able to protect ourselves at times and make decisions to do so. So the fear of abandonment, when it comes to attachment, is probably the most influential of all fears and of all beliefs. All right. Now, let's get started on some of those normalized dysfunctions in relationships that we just kind of accept it as a norm and we don't change it. We might complain about it. We might nag the other person, but we don't really think it's a problem yet. We just think it's part of the what a relationship is. The first thing is poor communication. Communication in general, and whether it's good or not so good within a couple, has a lot to do with trust. That I trust the person that I'm talking to or communicating with. Good communication at its core implies that I trust this person. I think their intentions are good towards me. Even if they give me feedback, it is not meant with, bad intentions. I know that they mean well and I trust them. So even if I don't want to hear the things that they might have to say, I will still listen and I think the best of them and I think they mean well, This is basically the basis of good communication, that level of trust. Now, poor communications is just a way to sum it up. It lacks that kind of trust. I don't trust my partner, which basically that is the foundation of communication. If I don't trust my partner, then eventually I don't think that their intentions are good. I question it. I'm suspicious of it. I might, compete with them. I might gaslight them. They might gaslight me. Most of the time, it is something that's back and forth. Communication is like a dance. There's a rhythm to it. And so I'm not just being communicated at, I'm engaging in communication. So there is no villain here and there is no hero. It is simply both people are equal in this. If I am with a toxic person, say it with me, it means I am toxic too. There's no way. I have toxic patterns that latch on to this other person who has toxic patterns. Toxic people latch onto each other. There's something that has to be worked out in both of those individuals that are in this attachment. So poor communication is not just one person being abusive. There's another person who's taking the abuse. Both need to look within themselves to see what needs to be healed. There's no villains here. No villains. I say it again. Some people will tell me, well, Tala, my ex was toxic. And I'll say, wink, wink, who's a match to a toxic person? Say it with me again. A toxic person. Yep. So there are no villains here, friends. We're all equal, consenting adults. And so if we attach to another adult that is toxic, well, they're latching onto something about me that is toxic because they wouldn't continue if I was healthier, right? Or if they were healthier, I wouldn't be a candidate for their attention because healthy people don't attract unhealthy people is another way to say that. Okay. Healthy people are usually attracted and attract healthy people back. It just makes more sense. That's the science of it. Okay. So poor communication should not be normalized. We need to start hearing ourselves when we say, oh, I just don't trust this person. When they tell me this, I don't think that's what they mean. And I'm reading between the lines. I need to hear myself saying that, poor communication, is blamed on one person. I need to not blame one person on it. It takes two. So I got to know within myself what it is I'm doing that it might be also contributing to this engagement in a negative way. right? I also, at the most minimum level, I chose this particular person to engage with. So me complaining about poor communication when I chose this person is tricky. It's really tricky. It keeps us confused, that I can just tell this person we need to communicate better, but yet I'm not fully taking accountability in this statement. I'm kind of saying that the communication is bad and you might need to get it together so I can get it together and then we can communicate better. I don't know. It's an issue of trust. So it's not an issue of communicating, but you have to ask, why is this person, why am I also responding to this negative communication, this poor communication? Why is it acceptable? People can stay in a relationship for years, engage in poor communication and accept it as part of their relationship. Yeah, it's very sad, but it is a common thing that we all normalize. We don't need to. We don't really need to normalize that. We need to think this is a problem. So next time you say that I have poor communication with my partner, I want that to really make you cringe, because I'm just saying that out loud. Like, I have poor communication with my partner and this is acceptable. So basically, we're okay with not trusting each other at all. Yeah, that should sound off. All right, let's get to the second one. The second one is dysfunction that is normalized in a relationship is going to be avoidance. Avoidance in a relationship, whether I'm walking away, walking out of the home when things get hard, or I ignore, I shut down, I avoid, basically. Avoidance is very much normalized. I hear this sometimes from individuals that say, oh, I started to talk to my partner about something, but then we quickly get into a fight and it just turns bad. And so I avoid telling my partner things because I don't want to get in a fight. I want to avoid a fight. This needs to sound, just terrible. Like, look at the reality of this. I don't express myself in this relationship with my partner. I don't feel the need of fear free to express myself. Also, a truth that's very harsh to admit is maybe my partner doesn't feel like they're capable of expressing their emotions with me. They don't feel vulnerable with me. And so what do? They avoid conflict. They shut down. I might shut down to avoid conflict, withdraw, as a way to punish them, perhaps. I don't know. But this avoidance eventually results in also lowered trust in relationships. And of course, we normalize it. People will be in years in a relationship where avoidance is just something we're used to. Oh, I called my partner and they just ignored my phone calls for days. I don't know, for hours. They don't want to talk about it. And we just kind of wake up the next morning after a fight and just never talk about it. And we just move on. And we've been doing this for years. And I don't know why I'm so angry. Well, let me tell you why you're so angry. It is this thing that John Gottman identified as contempt, which is a 93% predictor of divorce. So if you have contempt in a relationship, it is because really, basically, I found that when it comes to issues, they're not resolved in this marriage or with this couple. When issues are not resolved, they're not talked out, they're not understood better. What ends up happening is basically contempt. I hold a grudge is another way to say that, towards my partner. And you'll know that a partner holds a grudge towards another when, like, in the middle of a simple argument, like, can you please move your cup from here to the kitchen? Can you please do that? And then all of a sudden the other person might blow up, bring things back, and you're wondering, why are you bringing back the past? Why can't you just move on? Well, maybe things are not resolved. And these things that are not resolved usually end up building up and resulting in contempt. So we hold a grudge, friends, when we avoid that things don't get resolved. They can't be pushed under the rug for too long. Eventually, they're just going to pop up. They're going to kind of seep everywhere from under that rug all the way out. So we can only avoid for so long, and we don't need to normalize avoidance, thinking like, oh, this is my way of avoiding conflict. If you have to avoid a person because you or avoid expressing your wants and needs or your feelings or whatever the case is, if you have to avoid important conversations with your partner, that should not be normal, friends. That should not be normal. But we, again, normalize this dysfunction in relationships today. And we just talk about it. We complain about this all the time to our friends, but in reality, it is not normal. It is not normal. Okay. Number 3, normalized dysfunction is going to be giving up our interests for the sake of the relationship. Like we both compromise or overcompromise with things because of the relationship. This usually looks like, okay, I'm not going to go out with my friends because I'm not single. I'm with a person, and you should not go out with your friends because you have a person. So you know what? We should just not go out with our friends. We drop that altogether for the sake of the relationship. Now, this of course results in problems and resentments, and the people in this kind of couple are forced to resign or give up the things that they enjoy and parts of themselves that they want to express, and they're not allowed to express it. This is not done consciously, but it's almost accepted societally that we give up a lot in a relationship to maintain it, to keep it. Again, fear of abandonment is the underlying belief behind this. And that love is hard. Remember those 2 things I said in the beginning? Those 2 beliefs, core beliefs, those are the ones that support almost every one of those dysfunctions. You can see it loud and clear here. That we give up our interests for the sake of this relationship. And those are basically a form of controlling the other person, saying that they shouldn't do this because we are in a relationship now. And, you need to cut these parts off. Because those are not going to be good for the relationship. And I think we're using the justification that the relationship is the reason why I have to let go of parts of myself that I love about myself and I don't want to compromise with. But in order for me to keep that relationship, I got to let them go. This needs to sound weird. This needs to sound odd, not normal anymore. A dysfunction. That's what it needs to sound like. A dysfunction. Okay. So compromising with interests that really should not be compromised with. Okay, this one here was pretty fast, but the next one is the normalizing of controlling behaviors as a form of protection or devotion. So using jealousy in a way to secretly control someone, but we perceive that as a form of love and they care about me and they want to protect me. Like, I don't think you should go out with your friends because something could happen to you, or some guy is going to come up to you and talk to you and I don't want a guy to come up to you and talk to you. These are just kind of some of the scenarios that I come across. Let's see. If you go out with your friends, other girls are going to come and talk to you and you might, I don't know, get drunk and make bad decisions. Let's see. You shouldn't talk to this friend because this friend is in love with you, and guys can't be friends and girls can't be friends, and da-da-da-da. We start saying these things and they're an undertone of jealousy as a way to control our partner, as a way to control them. And we tell them this is what we think is caring and love, and we chalk it up as that, and we normalize it. But it is not. It is not love or caring. It is simply control and insecurity, that is just smearing toxicity all over that relationship. So hopefully we stop normalizing this nonsense as devotion or protection if we're jealous. It is not. It's just control. It's just control and insecurity. And this can only last for so long because it cannot be sustained. It's not realistic that we have to give up all these things without us suffering or experience significant suffering in a relationship, which ends up in the thing we're trying to protect ourselves from, which is abandonment. We're going to have to abandon eventually a relationship that sucks the life out of us. I mean, who wouldn't? Let's not normalize it. But again, I see people living with this for years. I have a jealous husband, a jealous wife, and it's okay. It's acceptable that they try to locate me and call me 5,000 times a day, and that's acceptable. We find this to be sexy. I don't know, but it is not. It is not sexy, and it does not imply a healthy relationship. It is quite dysfunctional, and we need to stop normalizing it. Okay. Next one. All right. Oh, this one is so common. And actually, it's put on a pedestal. It almost sounds like self-victimizing when I say this. What I'm referring to is feeling responsible for our partner's emotions. So this is how it looks. Let's say my partner comes in one day from work and my partner is not feeling well, something going on their face. And all of a sudden I look at their face and I come up with a story in my head like, oh, they're not talking to me. Why are they not talking to me? Oh, now I'm not going to talk to them because they're not talking to me. I'll only talk to them if they say hi. And I'm coming up with all these stories in my head. They are just in their mind, feeling whatever it is that they're feeling. And instead of me asking them, hey, how's it going? Is there anything you want to talk about? It looks like you're having a rough day. Anything I can help with? What we quickly can do is pounce on them like a tiger or start competing with them. Like, I'm going to withdraw because you're withdrawing too. So basically, another way to say all that is I make it about me when it isn't about me. My partner could be just having a difficult day, but in my head, I'm so insecure. I'm coming up with stories of how this relates to me, and I just can't let my partner have their own emotions. I can't. I want to manage their darn emotions. So feeling responsible for a partner's emotions is dysfunctional. Yet we normalize it. We could tell our friends like, my partner was in a bad mood and I just didn't like it. And, I went inside my room and I locked the door. I was watching TV. My partner was watching TV away from me and we were just not talking the whole night. And this is all acceptable. Like, we tell this story like, oh, this is what we do in relationships. We just hold grudges. We protect ourselves from our partners. We compete with them. It's just acceptable. That's what we do. And then, of course, I'm going to sound like a martyr because I'm saying I'm responsible for my partner's emotions. I'm just trying to help them. It almost looks like empathy. Almost. But if you just look a little closer, it is very self-seeking. My intentions are not that great with it. My motives are not that great because all I want to do is attempt to manage my partner's behaviors. Eventually, it results in a fight, not in me being empathetic and caring towards them, having a conversation, not being defensive about it. No, I'll be defensive and then I'll tell them off about how their facial expression looked like this. And I know what they're thinking, even though I don't know. And I'll go into assumption land and I'm thinking I am right with my assumptions. Yeah. And I'll act on them. Again, normalized. We'll call a friend, we'll tell them the story and we just won't battle ash. It needs to sound like, oh man, dysfunction is normalized here and I need to stop normalizing dysfunction. Okay. Now, the next one is in a relationship when we are feeling judged, mocked, or dismissed, but we still stay in the relationship. This one is a commonly normalized dysfunction. If my partner is making fun of me, right? If my partner is judgmental of me, commonly assume things about me that may not necessarily be the truth, but yet I have to kind of almost learn every day to dodge them and defend myself and protect myself, and because I'm going to be judged. This is normalized. Like I'll hear people say, when I go home, my wife or my husband is going to they're just automatically assuming this and that, and I'm going to be attacked in some way and I have to defend myself, and they're all coming up and anticipating all what's going to happen. It's almost normalized that we talk about this as being this is what relationships are about. I have to dodge my partner's attacks. It needs to sound odd, friends, because in fact, it is odd. It's dysfunctional. Okay. So if you're feeling judged, mocked, dismissed, like your opinions don't matter, your feelings don't matter, stop crying. Why are you crying? Why are you complaining? And then we might go tell a friend that my partner told me, why are you crying? Why are you complaining? They dismissed my emotions. They did this, they did that. But I'm wondering, what are you asking this friend to do? To validate that you are allowed to be hurt because you're mocked, you're dismissed, you're judged? No, we don't need to ask a friend whether we are. We need to accept what we're seeing as that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling mocked, judged, dismissed, and I need to maybe leave or get something that more matches my standards rather than staying in there and become self-victimizing. Because that's what it sounds like, right? I have two adults that are in a relationship. They're consenting. Nobody's holding a gun to the other person to stay. So the fact that I'm complaining about a person that is doing all these things that I don't like, I don't know why I'm there then, because it would be an easy problem to solve, I would think. it just makes sense. If this person doesn't give a rat's rear end about my feelings, my thoughts, my values, why am I going to sit there and attempt to convince them? What's going on within me that I'm sitting there attempting to convince them of my value, of my wants and needs, and why I should have them, why they need to respect me? If I'm having these conversations with my partner, I mean, they should not be normalized that I'm having these conversations with my partner. I have to teach them how to talk to me with respect. There's something going on with me, not my partner. My partner is who they are. That's what they showed me. But there's something going on with me that I'm accepting this and saying this is normal. This is acceptable for me. This is normalized. All right. Now, let's move to the final one that I think is quite problematic, fixing a partner. Now, when we think about normalized dysfunction at its worst is probably our belief about our need to fix our partner. Like, I need to talk to them more. I need to figure out how I'm going to tell them to do the specific thing that I need them to do. And then I'm going to approach them about this, and I'm going to convince them of this and confront them about their behavior and confront some more and confront some more. All in an attempt to fix this person to become what I need them to become, rather than accepting that they are not performing these things that I have expectations of, and accepting this from the beginning, friends, because usually a first fight will tell you quite a bit about a person's character. So it's good to see that right from the beginning. What the first fight will reveal with a couple is a lot, and being able to accurately see that implies that I got my fear of abandonment regulated, and I know that it's there, and I also have understood that love does not have to be hard, so I don't need to struggle. That will help me through finding or seeing the person I am dating accurately, a lot more accurately than than the average person would. Okay. Now, all these things survive so well. All these dysfunctions are normalized and survive very well through the years because we all have accepted a very harsh, deep, unfortunate belief. And that belief is that it is okay for us to adjust ourselves to fit what's available, what's right in front of us. It's okay for us to adjust ourselves. But we need to stop that. We need to stop normalizing that right away because it is now become destructive. And again, it will not allow you to see whatever is in front of you accurately because you're now adjusting yourself a lot to fit what's convenient, what's right in front of you. So they might have a few characteristics that I love. The rest I'll just fix in a partner. And this other destructive belief shows up of, oh, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Well, that's not what we're looking for. We're not looking for perfect, but I'm looking for emotionally healthy. I can ask for that, right, friends? I don't need perfection. I just need emotionally healthy. Can this person take accountability? Can this person communicate without all the manipulative tactics and strategies? Can they resolve conflict in a healthy way? Can they sit still through hard times and resolve things? You know, we gotta expect more, not perfection, but these should be the minimum qualifications. Anybody who's not performing to those tasks should not be getting a relationship to work because it will look like misery if it does work. If it does, and I'm putting this in quotes here, if it does work, right, it'll look terrible. It'll look miserable for both people involved when it looks like that. So it doesn't have to be perfect. That's right. But it has to be emotionally healthy. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Hopefully this helped you guys. This is all I got. And this just to recap all the dysfunctional norms that are common in a relationship would be poor communication that we normalize, avoiding conflict we normalize, giving our interests up for relationships or for the sake of a relationship we normalize, using controlling behaviors to normalize as devotion like jealousy or protection. I'm protecting you with my jealousy, and this is caring. Feeling responsible for my partner's emotions, feeling judged, mocked, or dismissed in a relationship and still stay in it. I'm still normalizing it, thinking it's okay. We tell our friends it's fine, I don't say it's fine, but maybe I say I don't like it, but I'm not doing anything about it. I'm just going to complain about the same thing next time to them as well. It's going to be the same thing every time. And then fixing a partner is probably the one that gets us all. It's romantically idealized in our head that we're here to fix them. They're going to change the way that they are because of love. They love us so much they're going to change. Well, we're going to be disappointed with that. Let's not normalize that storyline. I know the media does that we can eventually, change this, fix this partner, this person, because love will change them. But please, let's not live this out. This is a delusion today. All right. I know. I hope this was the thing that you didn't want to hear, but needed to hear. And I'm not just saying this for you. I'm saying this for me too. It's just a nice reminder. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I love you guys, and I wish you well on this wonderful Easter if you're celebrating. And if not, it's okay. Make sure that your goal is to always enjoy yourself. I'm sending you love and light. This has been an episode of Drive-Thru.